Yes.
Now I wanted to end off with the end of Basso Continuo creativity and
Mm.
that theme. Can you speak on that theme? What's happening there?
Well, my idea. I think that, I mean, Basso Continuo, I said at the beginning, we start off in 1600 and even earlier. And the most important thing, the most striking characteristic about Basso Continuo notation is that it gives the player the possibility to respond to what
Mm.
they're accompanying. And this is particularly important for the instruments of Basso Continuo because, of course, if you're playing a lute or a theorbo or a harp, you have got some dynamic possibility, a lot of dynamic
Mm.
possibility, but it's very effective if you do full chords and then empty chords. This is the whole idea behind it, and this is why you can't compare it to composition
Mm.
and play always in a contrapuntal way. On the harpsichord, it's even more important because it's the only way basically you have to be responsive. So if you're playing 2 notes, then it comes out quiet. If you play 10 notes, then it comes out as a
Mm.
loud chord. And so you're actually using the number of notes that you're playing to give volume and texture to the accompaniment. And you can't write that down, which is why nobody did, and it remained an improvisation. Now, towards the end of the Baroque era and the beginning of the classical era, the composers sort of started to be more specific in their requirements of over their control over interpreters, for want of
Mm.
a better way of putting it. So they were
Oh, very
writing
explicit
more specific
instructions.
things,
Yep.
more
Mm.
dynamics, more accompaniments were starting to be more composed. So, for example, if you look at a Mozart violin sonata, the piano part is entirely composed. It's no longer in continuo.
Mm.
Although Mozart was still writing, there's still parts of his piano concerti where the tutti come in, where
Mm.
he figures them. So it's
Yeah.
not by any means been abandoned as a way of uh, composing
But there's a greater
or
sense of the
writing.
composer's wishes needing to be preserved in the performance.
And I think it's partly to do with that, and partly to do with the instrument. If on a piano or a forte piano, which you would have by the 1770s, 1780s, you'd have very developed, very beautiful, very sophisticated forte piano. Then you no longer need to use the number of notes. You can do
Mm.
what's written. The composer can write your part, and you can adapt your part according to your performer, according to who you're accompanying, without having to change what's actually written. So you can. So you didn't need to use the notes to to do forte and piano. You can do it on your forte piano without.
Right.
Um, you can be expressive. It's a different type of expressiveness. The expressiveness in the accompaniment is no longer achieved by the composition of the accompaniment itself, which is what basically a continuo play is doing, which is what fascinates me about it.
Yeah.
But you can be expressive with what the composer has actually written, which
Mm.
it's what they were moving towards during,
Right.
towards the end of the 18th
Right.
century, I
Right.
think.
Well explained. Very well explained.